Okay, let's be real. You want to become an AI engineer, right? But it feels like every single day there's a new tool, a new framework, just a ton of hype. It's so easy to get lost. Well, if that's you, you are in exactly the right place. Because today we're cutting through all of that noise. We are going to lay out a clear, step-by-step roadmap to get you from where you are now to where you want to be.
So why is everyone so obsessed with AI engineering? Well, let's just start with the obvious, shall we? The money. We're talking about salaries that can skyrocket well over $500,000 for senior roles. But it's way more than that. It's about building a career on the absolute bleeding edge of technology.
And that, right there, is the million-dollar question. Or, I guess, the $500,000 question. With new frameworks dropping what feels like every single month, that path can feel, well, impossible, overwhelming. So where do you even begin? Don't worry, we're going to give you a clear, step-by-step guide right from the ground up.
So here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with the big picture, the opportunity. Then we'll dive into building your foundation, the stuff you absolutely cannot skip. After that, mastering the core concepts, choosing a specialty, looking ahead to the cutting edge of 2026, and finally, the really important part, actually launching your career.
All right, first step, the AI opportunity. Look, this isn't just about writing code. This is about being the architect of systems that are fundamentally reshaping, well, everything, from how we do medicine to how we handle finance. The demand for these skills is massive, and trust me, it is not going away anytime soon.
Now, a lot of people get AI engineers and ML engineers mixed up, so let's clear this up with a little analogy. Think of a high-end restaurant kitchen. The AI engineer, that's your head chef. They're responsible for the entire system, the whole dish, the end-to-end experience. The ML engineer is more like a world-class pastry chef, a deep specialist who focuses on perfecting one critical component, the models themselves. You know, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is just jumping straight into the shiniest new tool without any real goal. The key, and this is so important, is to start with AI literacy. Understand the landscape, get a feel for what AI can and, just as importantly, can't do, before you ever commit to a specific path. This focus is going to save you a ton of time and frustration.
So, once you have that goal in mind, it is time to build your foundation. And let me be clear, these next steps are completely non-negotiable. You can't build a skyscraper on sand, right? Well, you can't build complex, intelligent systems without these fundamentals.
It all really boils down to 3 pillars. First, Python fluency. It is, without a doubt, the language of AI. Second, mathematical intuition. And look, you don't need to be a math genius, but you do need a gut feeling for why these concepts work the way they do. And third, algorithmic thinking, which is really just the skill of taking a big, messy problem and breaking it down into small, logical, solvable steps.
Let's just double-click on Python for a second. We're talking about the undisputed champion here. We looked at hundreds of AI job postings, and it's the #1 required skill, period. From prepping data with pandas to building complex models in PyTorch, you're going to use it everywhere. It's not optional. It is literally your ticket into the game.
Okay, foundation is set, you're feeling good. Now we're moving into the real engine room, the core concepts of machine learning. This is where the magic happens. This is where you actually teach the machines how to think and learn.
And at the very heart of all modern AI is this idea of the neural network. Just think of it as a computer model that's loosely inspired by our own brains. It's made of these simple little nodes that work together in a network to recognize incredibly complex patterns, everything from spotting a cat in a photo to understanding human language.
So what's actually on your to-do list here? Well, you absolutely need to know supervised learning. That's where you give the AI labeled examples to learn from. And unsupervised learning, where it has to find patterns all on its own. You'll need deep learning architectures, like CNNs for images and RNNs for text. And crucially, you have to know how to measure if your model is any good. For frameworks, you need to know them, but really, focus on PyTorch. It's pretty much the industry standard right now.
All right, once you've got those fundamentals down, you can't just stay a generalist forever. The real goal is to become what we call a T-shaped expert. That means you have broad knowledge across a lot of areas, but you go super deep, a true specialist in one.
So what are the main paths you can take? Well, if you love language, text, and conversations, that's natural language processing, or NLP. Fascinated by images and video? That's computer vision. If you love building the rock-solid systems that everything runs on, that's MLOps. And if you want to teach an AI how to master a game or control a robot, that's reinforcement learning. Honestly,
The best way to choose is to just play around in each area and see what really gets you excited.
Now for the fun part. Let's talk about the future. What are the skills that are going to define the top-tier engineers in 2026? This isn't about forgetting the fundamentals. Not at all. It's about building on top of them. This is where all the most exciting, mind-blowing innovation is happening.
Okay, one of the absolute hottest techniques you need to know about is called RAG. That's Retrieval Augmented Generation. Here's the simple breakdown. Instead of an AI just using its old baked-in knowledge, it does something smarter. First, a user asks a question. Then the system goes and retrieves fresh, relevant facts from a private database. And then it uses those new facts to generate a way more accurate, up-to-date answer. This is the key to building truly powerful, custom AI applications. So where should you be focusing your energy for the future? It's all about large language models, the vector databases that make RAG possible, and these new agentic AI frameworks. And listen, these aren't just buzzwords. This is the literal tech stack that top companies are building their teams around right now.
Okay, we've covered a ton of technical skills, but all that knowledge is useless if you can't turn it into an actual job, right? So in our final section, let's get tactical. Let's talk about the exact steps you need to take to get hired.
Think of this as your career launch kit. You absolutely need a public GitHub portfolio filled with projects that solve real problems. You need a polished, active LinkedIn profile. Contributing to open source projects, that's a huge, huge plus. And of course, you need a clean, modern resume that can get past the automated screeners. The big takeaway here is simple. Theory is not enough. You have to prove you can build things.
And this quote just brings it all home. Your technical skills will get your foot in the door, but what really sets you apart, what makes you a leader, it's the breadth of your knowledge, how fast you can spin up a prototype to test an idea, and how well you can communicate your work to others. In the age of AI, these so-called soft skills are actually your superpower.
And that's it. That is your complete roadmap, from writing your very first line of code all the way to launching an incredible career. You have the map. So the only question left is, what problem are you going to solve first?